Today we're going to have a go at making a police car. We've got our two baddies from the story, Lanky Len and Hefty Hugh. And at the end of the story, the policeman comes along in his car and takes them away. So I'm going to show you how to make a police car. For the police car, you're going to need a box, selection of papers, some scissors, felt tip pen, some lids, some foil and an egg box. First thing we're going to do is cover our box. So you could paint it white to be like the car, or you can get some white paper and wrap it around. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Let's move you out the way a minute. Bit of glue on my box to start me off. Line it up with the edge, and I'm going to wrap it round until I get to the other side, and then I'm going to glue that edge down. So wrap it all the way around so it's nice and straight, and then put a little bit of glue on that edge to hold it down. Now if you're painting, you might like to paint it at the end, or you could paint it at the beginning, leave it to dry and then come back to it later. So there's my car. Now I'm going to need to cover the ends, because you can still see the ends of my box. So I'm just going to get a square piece of white paper to stick over the front. So I can do that. I can just draw around it with my felt tip pen to get the right size. If I hold it in the corner, even better. I've got my rough square to cut out, and then glue it. Now, because both ends are the same, I can have a little trick. I can fold that piece of paper in half, and when I cut them out, I get two the same. So follow that line up there. Follow that one. I've made two squares that I can glue onto the ends of my car. Okay. So pop my glue on the end of my box. Pop one on the front of my car, and another one on the back of my car. There we go. Give it a little squash. If there's bits hanging off, you could just, where I haven't quite cut them properly, you can give them a little trim to make them smaller. There we go. That's nice and fits now. So we've got our car. Now we need to turn it into a police car. Now obviously our car needs some wheels, and it needs something on the side so that we know it's a police car. Now on the side of this police car are some blue squares, and it also says police. So I'm going to get a blue felt tip pen, and I'm going to write along the side of the car police. Just test your pen before you do it. Yep. Turn the side of my car, and I'm going to write right in the middle police in capital letters. Okay, now I'm going to copy that pattern. I'm going to need some of my blue paper. I'm going to cut a long strip and then cut it into small squares. So if I cut a long strip, when I cut along, I get some squares. Okay, and then I'm going to glue them all along the side of my car. So just need my glue, and I'm going to make a pattern. Now I'm going to put one at the bottom, and then I'm going to join it in at the corner. There we are. And then I'm going to put another one there. If it hangs off, don't worry, I'm going to trim it off to make it fit. And I'm going to put the same at the other side. So after the E, I'm going to put one at the bottom. And I put one at the top, join it at the corner. And there's not really room for another one, so we'll leave that just where it is. Okay? Right. We need to turn it over because it'll be the same on the other side of our police car. So turn it over. And we're going to write police again. You might ask someone to write it out on a piece of paper first so you can copy it, or just listen carefully to them telling you how to write it. And then we're going to make that pattern again with our blue squares. I'm going to put one down the bottom next to the P. Then the next one joining the corner, and the other one, oh, two stuck together, stuck to that corner. Make that one a bit straighter, it's gone a bit wobbly before it sticks down. And then the same the other end, remember, by the E, it's the one at the bottom to make your pattern, and then we join it at the corner. There we go. Okay. Now we are ready for some wheels. Now, for the wheels, I've got some milk bottle lids. So I've got 4 milk bottle lids. And I'm going to stick them to the side of my car. Now you can choose. You can have them hanging off the bottom, or you can stick them all the way up. You can decide. But make sure if you stick them half hanging off, they're the same either side, otherwise your car will be wonky. Now, I was thinking about what wheels really look like, and I thought, oh, I've got some egg boxes. So use the bottom of the egg box, and I started cutting the bits off. So the bump bits, I thought, they look a little bit like hubcaps. So I cut some off. You might have to ask an adult to help you with this. And I cut some off and stuck one inside. So I've just got a few more to do. So I'm going to cut this one round, cut off a little bit at a time until it's small enough to fit inside your milk lid. So mind your fingers, or ask someone to do it. Make sure you don't use too sharp scissors. It's mainly made of paper, so it should be okay. Okay, and you cut it off and you stick it inside. You don't even have to glue it because it will just squeeze inside. So watch, if you give it a good squeeze, poke it in with your fingers. Oh, good poke. That's it. You've got one in there, so you've got 2 wheels. And you could paint them if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave them brown. Oh, that needs another little poke in. There's 2. And then 2 more. A bit fiddly, but give it a good squeeze. It's made of cardboard and it should go in. That's it. That's 3. And we need 1 more. Just squeeze in. There we go. And if they stick out a bit much, you can pull them out and glue them on, cut them down a little bit. So we're ready to glue the wheels on. Lots of glue, because if you're driving your car around, you don't want your wheels to fall off. So put one in the middle of that blue one. And then another one, so you only need to glue half if you want your wheels hanging off. Lots of glue stick. And the other one there. And when you turn your car over, you want to make sure that they're in the same place on the back. Lots and lots of glue. Pressed quite hard. And I've got to line it up. Oh dear, mine's very sticky. I put lots of glue on. Line it up with the one at the front. There we go, that's 3 wheels on. And the last one just over that blue one, wasn't it? There we go. Oh, while we're there, I can just trim that little bit of blue off there. There we go. You don't need that. So there's the start of our police car. Now we need somewhere for our policeman to sit. Now I'm very lucky because the box I chose already had a hole in it, but you might ask an adult to cut a hole for you. So when I use the scissors, I'm going to ask, I'm a grown-up so I can do this myself, but you can ask someone to help you. I'm just going to make a little hole into my paper because there's already a hole below it, and I can cut the space. Oh, let's get my scissors in. Well, I think my wheels need a bit of time to dry if I start pushing hard. That's it. Oh dear, all my wheels are coming off. I definitely need a bit more drying time. Now I'm going to poke that round to make the hole for my policeman. And I can just put some glue, or if I fold them really carefully, I probably won't need anything at all. And just poke it under and they'll stay round. Just get those wheels back on properly. The other two have started to dry already. Those two are coming off a little bit. There we go. Now that's a place for our policeman. Now, oh, don't seem to have a policeman. Well, I wonder, actually, before we think about our policeman, I need some lights on my car, don't I? Now, I found some silver lids from a drinks bottle, and I wondered if I could turn them into lights. So I got some yellow paper, and I cut out 2 circles. Now what I did is I got my milk bottle lid and I drew round them and then cut them out so they were just the right size. So I've got perfect size for poking in, and if you give them a little poke, you might not even need any glue. The paper will just go in and it will stay in. There's 1 and there's 2. Or you might like to cut them out and glue them in. It's up to you. And then you can stick them on the front of your car. So again, lots and lots of glue. Give them a really good squeeze with your glue stick. If you've got runny glue, you're going to have to wait a bit longer for it to dry in between. There's 1 on the front. Oh dear. 2. There we go. The lights on the front. Now we're ready. We are ready now for our policeman. Okay. Now I'm going to move my police car out of the way so we can make the policeman. Now I'm going to make my policeman in the same way that I've made my baddies. My baddies are made out of a cardboard tube and just lots of different coloured papers. So you can see that I've already made Lanky Len and Hefty Hugh. So I'm ready to make my policeman. I've got my tube. Now, you might have to ask an adult to cut the tube a bit smaller. So if you've got a long kitchen tube like I have, I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to mind my fingers out of the way, give it a little squash and cut all the way across. There we go. Right. Now, like me, you've probably got a little bit that's longer at one end than the other. So I'm just going to trim it up so it's level. Otherwise, when my policeman stands up, he's going to be a bit wonky. Okay. Now, my policeman is wearing blue. So we need some blue paper for my pile. And we're going to glue it all the way around the tube. Now you can see I've just measured that, and I can see already it's a bit too long. So I'm going to get my pen. I'm going to mark where it's too long, and I'm going to cut a line. You might want to draw a line with a ruler. There we go. I've cut that little bit off. So I now know that So when I put that on my tube, it's going to be just the right size. So you can either put glue all over the tube or you could put glue all over the paper. You can decide. I'm just putting my fingers. You put the fingers inside so then you can put the glue all over and you don't get sticky fingers, hopefully. Right, let's give that a go. I'm going to line it up. Make sure that line is straight with the tube. Otherwise, when you get around the other side, it won't quite join up. Oh, a bit like mine. I need to flatten it out a bit more. Give it a little roll out. I'm going to unpeel mine. It's not quite straight. A bit better. There we go. Then we've got our policeman. I think mine's still a little bit wonky at the bottom. I think that's why it's not joining up. And trim a bit more off. See if he'll stand up a bit better. That's a bit better now. If you've got bits like me just hanging off, just pop a little bit of extra glue on the corner. There. Okay. There's your policeman. Now your policeman, he needs a face. So I've got my paper and I'm going to draw his face on the paper. Now he's got a big round face. So I'm going to draw like a big smile shape with 2 ears sticking out. And then a little bit at the top because he's going to have a helmet on. Okay. Now I'm going to cut it out and then I'm going to draw his face on once it's done. Because what happened is it might be just a bit too big, so I'll just check it's not too big. So I cut carefully around his ear, around his chin, up to his ear. Try not to chop his ear off. Go. Pop the rubbish away. Okay, so we've got his face. Now I'm just going to measure it against my body. That looks okay. And then I'm going to draw his face on. Okay. Do 2 eyes. And a cheeky smile. And a little nose. Okay. Now, if you were doing Lanky Len, you might put some stubble on his face. Or if you're doing Hefty Hugh, you might draw a moustache. So I'm just going to leave my policeman like that. And I'm going to stick it on the front of my tube. Now I'm going to make sure that the line where I've joined it up is at the back of my tube and his face is on the front. Okay, let's see if I can line that up. Now I want his ears are just down a bit. So put lots of glue on the back of his face. Make sure that line's on the back again. And there he is. Give it a good squeeze. Now we can draw his uniform on. So we know he's got a little badge on his uniform. We draw a little badge on his pocket. Should we draw a little pocket here? Ooh. Or you could do like a sheriff badge if you like. The circle in the middle. You could draw some buttons on the front of his uniform. Make him look important. And he's going to need some boots. In fact, we could put some trousers. We could change the colour. Let me show you how to make some trousers for him. So I've covered it all in blue and then I'm going to put some dark blue trousers on him. So I've got some darker blue and I cut a strip. Just check that that fits all the way around the tube before I start gluing. Cut a strip here. There we are. It's not quite straight. Let's try that again. you go. Put our glue all over. Give him some trousers. And then he's going to need some policeman boots. Lots of glue on that end bit because that's the bit that's going to be sticking up. Let's give that a curl round his tummy. There he is. Give it a good squeeze. There he is. That's better, isn't it? We could give him a little collar as well. We want to do that. Okay, now he needs some shoes. So let's find some colour-free shoes. Now, just like we did when we did the squares, what I'm going to do, instead of doing one, I'm going to fold a piece of paper in half. I'm going to draw a burger shape, so like a rainbow. And I'm going to cut two together. So then his shoes will be the same. I'll show you. There we are, it's two shoes. Glue those on the bottom. Then I'm going to give him some laces. So one on that side. One on that side. And do some laces. Two little lines, 1, 2, 1, 2. You could choose to draw them on before you stick them on if you like. And then I'm just going to turn them up, so I'm going to put the sole of his shoes. I'm going to draw a line, bottom there, line at the bottom there. Okay, there's his little shoes with his laces. Now, oh, just had a thought. Where's his helmet? Now, I had a long think about this. Now, you could choose different things to put on his head. You could cut the top bit off your egg box when you're making the bits for his wheels, if you've got an egg box. Or, I had a look in my lid box and I found the lid off the top of the washing liquid. And I just started to paint it blue because it was a green one. I will put it on so you can see, and then I'll give it another lick of paint afterwards because it'll be a bit sticky. So if I squeeze it on, it will line up with the hole. Oh, let's tuck his head in. I line it up. Okay, and there's his hat on his head. Now, I'll give that another lick of paint so it's a bit bluer rather than a little bit green. And then let's bring back, should we bring back your police car? See if you can sit inside your police car. So there's your police car. In you go, careful, careful. And see if you go inside. There he is. My policeman, ready to come and get the baddies. I hope you enjoy doing it and have a go yourself.